Hi, my name's Emily. I'm 18 and I thought I had found the perfect boyfriend. His name was Ryan. He's 19. Tall, confident, popular, and honestly, way out of my league. Or at least that's how I always felt. When he first asked me out, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was some kind of prank. But he insisted, and soon we were that couple at school. The kind people whispered about. The kind I always secretly envied. At first, everything seemed like a dream. He would text me good morning, walk me to class, buy me snacks from the vending machine, and even brag about me to his friends. I felt like I was living in a movie. But slowly, things began to change. The first red flag happened during one of our hangouts with his group of friends. They were all sitting around, joking, teasing each other. I was quiet, a little shy, but I tried to fit in. Then, out of nowhere, one of his friends said, "Bro, your girlfriend's kinda plain compared to the girls you usually go for." I froze. My heart dropped. Before I could even react, Ryan laughed. He laughed and said, "Yeah, I guess I downgraded." Everyone burst out laughing. My face burned red. I forced a smile, but inside I was crumbling. That night, I cried myself to sleep. But the next day, Ryan acted like nothing had happened. He texted me, "Hey babe, wanna grab lunch?" I told myself I was being dramatic. Maybe he was just trying to go along with his friends. Maybe he didn't mean it. But deep down, I knew something was breaking. Over the next few weeks, things got worse. He started making jokes about me. My hair, my clothes, even my laugh. In front of people. And every time if I got upset, he'd say, "Relax, it's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." I kept forgiving him because I was scared of losing him. He was the first guy who ever made me feel special, even if it was only sometimes. I kept clinging to the version of him from the beginning, the sweet, thoughtful Ryan who made me feel like I mattered. But that Ryan was disappearing. Then came the night at the restaurant. Ryan had invited me out with his two best friends, Mark and Jason. We went to this popular place downtown where everyone from our school hung out. I was nervous because I never felt like I fit in with them. They were loud, cocky, always making fun of people. But Ryan begged me to come, so I agreed. At first, everything seemed fine. We ordered food, chatted about school, laughed a little. But then Jason started teasing me about how I barely ate and said I was probably on some weird diet. I tried to laugh it off, but then Ryan added, "Well, at least she's not overeating." Though honestly, she could try harder with her looks. The table went silent for a second, and then everyone laughed. I felt like the floor had collapsed under me. My face turned red, my eyes filled with tears, and I whispered, "Why would you say that?" Ryan shrugged, smirking, and said loudly, "Come on, Emily, don't act surprised. You know you're not exactly the hottest girl in the room." I couldn't breathe. People at nearby tables turned to look. I wanted to disappear. And then, as if that wasn't enough, Ryan leaned back in his chair, looked at his friends, and said, "Actually, guys, I think I'm done here. I don't think this is working out. She's just not my type anymore." He dumped me, right there in front of everyone. I sat frozen, my heart pounding in my ears. I thought I'd misheard him. But when I saw the smug look on his face and the laughter of his friends, reality hit me like a truck. My hands were shaking. My throat closed up. I couldn't even form words. Tears streamed down my face as I grabbed my bag and ran out of the restaurant. I didn't care that people were staring. I just needed to get away. When I finally got home, I collapsed on my bed, sobbing until my chest physically hurt. I replayed his words over and over. Not the hottest girl. Not my type. Downgraded. How could someone I trusted, someone I loved, humiliate me like that? The following days at school were torture. Everyone seemed to know what had happened. I heard whispers in the hallways, saw people looking at me and giggling. Someone even sent me a screenshot from a group chat where Ryan's friends were joking about me, calling me Ryan's ugly ex. I wanted to disappear. I skipped classes, avoided the cafeteria, and locked myself in the bathroom whenever I felt like crying. My self-esteem, already fragile, shattered into pieces. I looked in the mirror and couldn't stand my own reflection. But the worst part? I still missed him. Even after everything he did, a part of me wanted him back. That's how much control he had over me. One night, after crying for hours, I decided to delete all his pictures, his texts, everything. My hand shook as I hovered over the delete button, but before I could do it, my phone buzzed. It was a message from him. "Hey, you over it yet?" My heart sank. I didn't reply. A minute later, another text came in. "Don't be mad, babe. You know I was just joking. Besides, you should thank me for being honest. Most guys wouldn't tell you straight up." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but instead I just cried harder. That's when something inside me snapped. I realized he wasn't going to change. He wasn't sorry. He didn't even care about the damage he'd done. I knew I had two choices: let him destroy me completely, or find a way to rebuild myself. And that's when I came up with a plan. I wasn't going to let Ryan be the last word in my story. If he thought I was weak, ugly, and worthless, I was going to prove him wrong. Not for him, but for me. When I got home that night after being humiliated in front of his friends, I cried myself to sleep. My makeup was ruined, my pillow was wet, and I felt like the smallest person in the entire world. I kept replaying the moment in my head. His smirk, the way his friends laughed, and how he didn't even try to defend me. The worst part? I still loved him. That's the sickest, most painful part of toxic love. You can hate someone for hurting you and still desperately want them back. For the next few days, I couldn't eat. I skipped classes, ignored my friends, and barely even looked at my phone. But then, the text started. It was from him. At first, he didn't apologize. He wrote things like, "You overreacted, you're too sensitive. If you can't take a joke, maybe you're not girlfriend material." My hands were shaking as I read them. I wanted to block him, but part of me still hoped he would say, "I'm sorry, I love you. I didn't mean it." And after a few days, that's exactly what he did. He showed up at my door with flowers. His hair was messy, his shirt wrinkled, and his voice almost trembling. "Please, baby," he said. "I was stupid. I didn't mean what I said. You know you're the most beautiful girl to me." I wanted to scream in his face, to tell him how much he broke me, but instead, I let him in. Because that's what happens when your self-worth is crushed. You start believing that even the person who hurts you is better than being alone. For a little while, things got better. He complimented me more, he held my hand in public, and he even posted me on his Instagram story for the first time. My heart wanted to believe that he had changed. But people don't change that easily. A few weeks later, the insults started creeping back. Not always direct, sometimes disguised as jokes. "Are you really wearing that? You'd be cuter if you lost a little weight. I like when you wear makeup. You look too tired without it." Each word chipped away at me. It was like death by 1,000 cuts. Then came the night that completely destroyed me. We were invited to a big party. Everyone was there. His teammates, his ex, and even some of my classmates. I wore a red dress I had saved up for months to buy. I thought I looked nice. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd be proud to have me by his side. But when we walked in, he looked me up and down and whispered, "You look kind of desperate in that dress. Are you trying too hard?" I froze. My heart sank. At that exact moment, his ex-girlfriend walked up. Perfect makeup, perfect hair, fake smile plastered on her face. And guess what he did? He hugged her, tight, right in front of me. And then he said, "This is my ex. She always dressed classy. Not like..." He glanced at me and smirked. That was it. I couldn't breathe. My eyes burned. I wanted to run, but my legs felt like stone. Finally, I whispered, "I'm done." And for the first time, I meant it. I walked out of that party without looking back. I ignored his calls, deleted his texts, and blocked him everywhere. I thought that would be the end of the story. But oh, I was so wrong. Because when a toxic person feels you slipping away, they don't just let go. They chase. For the next 2 weeks, he showed up at my house, begged my friends to talk to me, and even left notes in my locker. He swore he loved me, swore he'd change, swore he couldn't live without me. and for a second I almost gave in again. But then something happened that completely opened my eyes. I was sitting in the cafeteria when I overheard two of his friends talking. They didn't know I was there. One of them laughed and said, "Man, he only dates her because she's easy. He said he doesn't even find her attractive." My stomach dropped. So everything he ever told me, about me being beautiful, about me being special, it was all a lie. Just words to keep me under his control. That night, I deleted every picture, every text, every memory. But the story doesn't end with me just cutting him off. 2 months later, I posted a picture on Instagram. I had been going to the gym, taking care of myself, hanging out with real friends who lifted me up instead of tearing me down. I smiled in that picture. Genuinely smiled. And guess who slid into my DMs the second he saw it? Him. "Wow," he wrote. "You look so good. I miss you." And for the first time ever, instead of feeling weak, instead of craving his attention, I laughed. Because the girl he called ugly, the girl he humiliated, the girl he tried to break, she was finally free. And she was never going back.